Hey guys, welcome to YOLO with ToLo. It is our 28th episode, and we are excited to chat with you guys about a topic that has been resonating with Lonnell and I, our personal lives, as well as many friends of ours. And the topic is getting out of yo funk. So, is going to be our producer today, so he's logging on now. What's up?
Hey, I'm just trying to get my light together here. Hang on, there we are. Can you see me?
Okay.
Oh,
It is a bit dark.
okay, hang on a sec. Sorry, guys, I've been ripping and running. Hang on. Oops. Sorry.
It's okay. Anyway,
Go ahead, listening.
so happy Wednesday. Last episode last week was all about forgiveness, and this week, Lonnell and I were like, we know this week's topic, and it's going to be getting out of your funk. And I know a lot of y'all, all of us, deal with challenges. If you're dealing with challenges, feel free to ping us right now with some questions, or let us know that you're going through some challenges. And if you aren't, don't lie, because we all
Everybody's got some kind of challenge.
Right? Anyway, so you're in Chicago, right?
I am. I literally just was running up in the door from running errands and trying to get some stuff done. I have a short night here, so. But all is good. All is well. I'm just trying to pull.
Good. And I know that you had to. Let's just jump right into our ToLo's topic.
Yeah.
And the hot topic today, hurricane. Oh my goodness. It's actually hitting the northern part of Florida, right? But it's coming into all the sort of like southeastern states, right?
Yeah, including Georgia, which is why I got out of Atlanta. Speaking of hurricanes, like I'm leaving the storm, right? And I landed in Chicago, and I realized that I've left all of my work credentials, my work ID, my keys to the condo in Chicago. I left it all in Atlanta.
What?
And now I'm just like, oh. And I started like freaking out, like, okay, do I need to jump on a plane and go back and get that, or come back? And then it was just like, no, you know what? Don't add to the storm.
Oh my God! So how'd you get on the plane?
I had I use Clear on the plane, so you just use your fingerprints, so you don't have to show ID. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all better get up on quick.
I gotta give me some
Right.
I gotta get as much as I travel.
So when I got to Chicago, everything kind of worked. Things just once I got out of that scattered storm, like, okay, I'm running from the storm. I'm going to fly back in the storm. Once I dismissed the storm and just got like centered and was like, okay, listen, this is where you are. These are the current circumstances. This is how things appear. What are you going to do? And then once I released that crazy scattered energy, then things started happening. Oh, so-and-so has the key to the condo. Perfect. My manager at work was like, we're going to get you this duplicate ID for temporary, blah, 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 blah. I mean, everything just started flowing together the moment I released all that scattered fear.
Yes.
So like the actual hurricane actually applied to my life today.
Yeah. So the key really is to then like, okay, when you feel frazzled or you feel like about to get pissed off because somebody's having road rage or cut you off or whatever, and you're feeling that, like feeling your internal GPS, then you're like, hold up. Wait a minute.
Hold up.
Yes.
And it's true. And you really have to, recognize, because it's so easy to just keep feeding the fear and feeding the chaos. Yes. And then the next thing you know, you're flipping the person back off in traffic. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm still not where you are. Like, oh, I'm trying to send them love. I'm like, no, I'm just still trying to push you out. But
I told you this.
I'm a work in progress.
Yeah, I told you. I learned because my aunt, who died of breast cancer, in 2001, was a slow driver. I admit it already. And she would always drive in the middle lane or the fast lane just because she was on chemo and stuff. And people would flip her off. And I remember being a teenager. Was I a teenager? No, I was like, no, I was an adult. Yeah, I was like 20, 21. Anyway, so yeah, I remember just being so pissed off at the people because I'm like, you just don't know what my aunt's going through. So now I try to apply maybe they're having a bad day or maybe something happened in their lives. So, and I don't do it all the time, but majority of the time, once I feel that, it's like a switch. It's like now it's a default. Like I'm starting to get pissed. Wait a minute, back up, And I'm trying to apply that to even today's topic of getting out of a funk because we all go through it. But in terms of going through challenges in life, it is a storm, right? And sometimes it's category 1, sometimes it's category 10. And a lot of times we make it a category 10. I'm just making category 10 up. But anyway, and we just, we're just like, oh my God, these things are crazy. And then we fail to then center ourselves and ground ourselves to then logically think, like you're saying, what you just did for your work. And so I think that like storms, like things that naturally, if you just pay attention to nature, it teaches you a lot, right? Storms, natural fire disaster, like fires, they happen. You know, I've talked about this before with you, that, you know, fires happen naturally in nature, like forest fires, because pine cones and some seeds need to burst and grow. And I think if you do back up and you pay attention and you work through whatever challenges you're going through and see what it's teaching you, then you will learn from them.
You learn from them.
And kind of until the next storm comes. But the same storm, interestingly enough, most of the time doesn't come around, you know, the same problem or challenge once you know, figured it out, you know. Isn't that funny?
And I think more people, there's this tree called angel oak. It's very popular in Charleston, South Carolina. It's
angel oak.
It's this huge oak tree that just like it grows out of the ground, in the ground, and around. It's huge. But I keep, and they think it's like one of the oldest living things from that, or trees, at least from the area. It's like hundreds of years old.
Magical.
And I think about that space, and even when you stand in that space, it's really like powerful. But I think about it, and it's like just like the angel oak. Do you know how many hurricanes and earthquakes and how many storms that thing has weathered? And it's still there. And sometimes it might teeter over a little bit, or, you know, but she bounces back. And that's just how we are. We come from that same type of, we're rooted in that same type of resilience. So you have to just, you think like the angel oak. You know, it's like storms come, and just weather it. Just weather it.
You know, it's really beautiful. If you turn around, I'm just looking. I can't help to keep looking like I'm looking over you, but over your shoulder, there's a beautiful photo of a tree and fog.
I have to ask my friend Paul, who did this. I think he got that when he was in Peru, maybe from an artist.
Oh wow, Peru.
That's where he's from. So I think that's where it may have come from. So.
That is gorgeous.
I think, and it could have just come from the dollar store down the street, but
that don't look like no dollar store.
Okay. I'll have to ask him when he gets in.
That is so beautiful, and it's funny because that is the exact thought that I was going to convey before you got on. I was like, let me just pull from my wisdom and pull from my experiences of like what I have to say about getting through your funk, because a part of me is like, and we always say this too, it's like we're not phonies because we don't like pretend to know everything, right? But sometimes like we're going through funks ourselves, right? And we will continue to go through funk. So it's not like we're sitting here saying that here's a magic pill and here's what you just do, go to gratitude and that's it. But it's like the practice, right? And a part of it is, and I'm gonna keep saying it throughout the show, because if there's only one thing you get, I believe that it's that you gotta walk through the fog. You gotta walk through the storm to see the sunshine, to see whatever it is. You know, you fly, and you know that if it's stormy, you're flying through, you know, the clouds, and there's no sun rays, and then once you get above, it's always blue sky.
And the sun's always there, just waiting on you, boo. Right? Just waiting on you.
Right? Yeah. And so it's the same thing with that actual thought that I had. It's like every time, whether it's a breakup or potential breakup or work or not getting a job or an opportunity that I wanted, I'm like, walk through the storm, one foot in front of the other. And I think that to me has been the root of, play on words, but the root of the whole challenge, you know, with the whole tree and the fog and stuff. So, I know, right? So, okay, so let's jump right over to Dump the Hump and talk about what our Wednesday hump is and our challenges. So I'll let you go first because I know you're traveling. I've been following your Insta story.
Oh gosh, it's been so crazy. Just like I had the Gentleman's Ball, which is our annual fundraising gala for this organization that I volunteer for in Atlanta. It was amazing, but it was also very stressful.
Okay, back up. What is it? What is it? But for the people that don't know what.
So the Gentleman's Ball is a nonprofit organization that really focuses on providing resources for mental health, for education, all kinds of things for primarily Black and trans men, because they are the most marginalized of the whole LGBT community. So every year we have this fundraising gala. It's kind of like the Black Oscars kind of thing, and they honor different people in the community. We had Stacey Abrams, who's running for governor of Atlanta, Jesse Smollett from Empire. There were a bunch of people. It was just so awesome. And so we did that, but I do a lot of the social engagement, so I was just busy the whole entire weekend. No sleep, but those were good stressors, so it was a lot of fun. But one thing that happened to me, this happened actually maybe a little more than a week ago, because sometimes you don't realize that you're in a funk maybe or you kind of are in denial that you're in a funk. Something's just, or maybe I just don't really feel like getting out of bed, but I'm just saying I'm tired today. For me, it was weight. My weight was creeping up and creeping up. And I was always,
you've been talking about that a lot.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, well, whatever. I'm not, And then I stepped on the scale one day, and I had this number in my head. That's the crisis number. and Lord, sweet Jesus, I hit it. And I was like, oh, hell to the no. I'm like Googling, like, how much is lipo? Can I But I realized it's like, okay, this did, you knew this was building. But, you know, and you're stepping on the scale and you're seeing it, but you're just denying and denying. And you know that that's a funk. I couldn't necessarily attribute it to one, like, particular action or circumstance, but it was probably just a collective. So, like, what's at the root of that? What's at the root of that? At the root of that? And don't tell me just my metabolism slowing down, because after, I mean, since, like, when I did that, I like, dropped almost 6 pounds, but just by being disciplined over the 2 weeks after that. So I say that to say that, you know, sometimes it may not just be one triggering event. You might not even realize that you're in a funk, or you may realize it, but you may not be ready to acknowledge it. And then it's going to keep building and building until it explodes, and till you step on the scale and you're like, Lord, it's Professor Clump.
You know, the thing is, you don't know, like, for example, weight, you don't know. Sometimes, I mean, I think all the time that you're gaining weight, and you're just feeling off, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, my clothes is a big indicator of what fits or what doesn't fit.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Or no, what feels good and what doesn't feel good, and your clothes don't lie unless you shrunk it in the dryer. You know.
And neither do my Spanx, boo, because they tell me like the Spanx.
Wait, men have Spanx?
Oh, yeah, and then no, let me stop. But yeah, they do.
What?
Yes.
This is brand new to me.
I've got my man Spanx. And
what?
There's even some other company I found online that has some other, you know, slimming.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yes.
I never knew that.
And they're not cheap either. The men's Spanx are not cheap. But they kind of work.
Okay. You know, the thing is, it's like, I know you had a big milestone birthday, and so I think with each decade too, I can only speak because I'm 40, but I just feel like, you know, it's harder for me to recover. I don't drink, but it's hard for me to recover when I stay out late. People that drink say it's harder for them to recover when they drink, or when you just can't eat the stuff you eat. I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade over at you, but I mean, like, I see the yummy food you post on your stories.
They are it's yummy. That's part of the problem. I get to go to all these great restaurants, but now I'm just like, I'm not just trying everything, and I'm not just going to eat out of convenience. I'm going to eat like with some type of discipline and some type of purpose.
And you know, you travel a lot, so it's harder. So, I mean, I give you that much, you know, but again,
not
it's
impossible.
like, how do you be mindful?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. How do you be mindful of that, you know?
Right.
So, okay, so the gentleman's ball, you said you only ate, earlier, you said you only slept like 8 hours over the whole weekend. So what has this funk been? What is the storm that you've been going through?
I think it's been just a whole collection of personal things that, like, like them all kind of coming together, and me kind of like dealing with some things in my personal life that I was like, oh, maybe that wasn't necessary. Maybe that was an issue, and I was not trying to, you know, I wasn't obeying the whisper when it was there the first time, or how. And then it starts showing up in the way that I spend money, or the way that I'm eating, and then it's like, okay, And for me, I could just walk into my closet and be like, okay, child, what? And it's just full of crap. And I'm like,
stuff don't fit.
This is you. You are buried under all of this clutter. So.
Yeah, I have been trying to get rid of clutter, and you know, I love to collect things when I travel, you know, and there's two things that I've been working through in terms of the funk. One is, you know, after I come back from my travels, and when you travel, you don't carry a lot of stuff. I try to travel as light as I can now, and just do carry-on. But I come back and I feel like, oh my gosh, like I've collected all this stuff over time, and then I start getting mad at myself. So that's one thing. I know it's totally first world problems, but I'm trying to think about how that really relates to everything else in my life. And a part of another thing that I struggle with too is the fact that, you know, I'm not on my own. I'm on my own schedule, so I'm not like a 9-to-5er. I do motivational speaking gigs. I do projects. I just made a documentary the last year and a half with AARP on caregiving heroes in the Asian American community, stuff like that. And I just, you know, I don't have things due on certain days, and I beat myself up for feeling like I always have to have a check off list and check everything off. And, some days it's like 2 o'clock already and I maybe had one phone call and returned one email. And I'm like, oh, what happened? And I recently realized and had a conversation with somebody about how um, I had the flu at some point last year. And then I was like, oh, good. I'm going to spend the next 2 or 3 days not doing anything and just me time.
Right.
And then I didn't feel guilty about it. But now, like on Monday, I did nothing. Like I just did nothing.
That's the best day.
I know, right? Professionally productive. But I needed to take a deep breath and like I cleaned up some stuff around the house and I just got rid of a bunch of clothes and like, sold them and donated them. And so I just felt like, I just felt defeated because I didn't get enough done. And I just need to be in this space of the here and now instead of like being in the future so much, just being like in this moment.
Right.
And it's hard because you and I want things to happen, in our professional lives. And I just have to remind myself that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
That's what we're trying to tell everybody.
Right.
And that's hard.
It's hard.
Right. But in terms of getting out of the funk, I think in answering the awesome questions that we have in the next segment and how to work through them, I'd love to hear from you guys at home. Hi, Susie, I see you there. And answering these questions, hopefully they will kind of guide us and collect, we can collect some wisdom here. So let's jump over to segment 3. Talk to ToLo. So the first question is very interesting. Fiona from Manchester, England says, what practical advice would you give to help people find their mojo again?
Finding your mojo. That's you know what? I think
your natural flow.
Yeah.
The natural essence of your joy.
The things that you were drawn to. The things that you were drawn to. The things that you dream about. The things that you're afraid of. Those are, that's where your mojo lies. Because you're not giving, you're not planting the seed of a dream if the universe is not giving you the equipment to actually fulfill it. So you just got to step out of that place of fear, and but recognize that fear of that dream that you have, that's where your mojo lies. So you have to recognize it and then take baby steps.
That thing that excites you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's something for everybody.
Yeah.
And it may not be what the other people are saying you should have.
Yeah.
But it's what your inner GPS is saying. Look, boo, this is what excites me. This is what turns me on. That's what you need to do.
Oh, so the reason why I was like, oh my god, because I just went to 50 years in Asian American media celebration given by the Chinese for Affirmative Action. It's an organization here in San Francisco, and we saw like generations of like the first Asian reporter in California. He was there. And Kevin, fact check me on it. His name was Christopher Chu. Christopher what? But anyway, he was there, and then it was like a kind of like a town hall where it was a big reunion for us people. So long story short, they had the people in the 70s talk, the journalists, TV reporters, and show hosts. Then they had the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then I did talk about ToLo, the show that we're doing and whatnot. And I remember going and seeing all these legends that I grew up watching, or when I was in college, I would watch here in the Bay Area, TV reporters, hosts, anchors, and stuff. And now having accomplished being a TV host in this market, being a TV reporter, and being 40 and being more confident in who I am, I remember running into some of the older crowd folks who are now out of the media, and I was very honest. I was like, yeah, I want to do a talk show. And I didn't care, like I don't give a care what they think. And the funny thing, Christopher Chow, first Asian Chinese American reporter in San Francisco. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, that's
Curtis.
So
go ahead.
Hey, Curtis. So anyway, so I spoke up about, like you talked about the dream. Like you and I have talked about wanting to be talk show hosts because you and I have done a lot in our careers, right? And we want to share this wisdom, and we're like, we'll just do this, and this is our own show, and we want to continue to grow it. But I used to be sort of ashamed of saying that, or I used to be ashamed of saying that I want to be a TV reporter, knowing that my parents, like Chinese immigrant parents, are like doctor, lawyer, engineer.
That's my favorite. Yes.
I know, right? I know. You always like get giddy when I say that. but it's so true. And now I'm just kind of like, you know, you do you, boo.
Right.
You know. And so going back to, I think, what your truth is really important. It's going back to Fiona's question. How do I find my mojo? Maybe different than how you do. But for me and you, I know that we love to talk. We talk to each other offline. And every Wednesday, the reason why we're doing this show is to hold each other accountable and actually share wisdom and to actually crowdsource wisdom. And so that really helps me shift my perspective and go back to gratitude. When sometimes, let's be honest, it's hard to get back into gratitude, you know, when you're by yourself,
Right.
you know, or like when you're in your own head,
Right.
you know. That's how I do it. I also love to write, and so those are the two things that I do. But I know that, you know, Fiona is a soul sister friend of mine, and I know that she loves the art. So I know when she's doing art and around artistic people, that's how. And going back to that, going back to like when I feel like it's, you know, I'm at a place where I'm in my head, I know I can call you. I can call Kevin. I can call other people who know me. And that is, I think, the best way. But like you said, going back to your roots.
Right. And for me, also finding a space, like you were talking about art, finding a space in art, for me, it's like music or like powerful vocalists, like Curtis Finch, who's listening. He was actually on American Idol.
Oh, okay.
And like those type, like hearing those certain voices will like inspire me, or certain music will inspire me to, you know, walk and fight for my mojo. Whether it be,
Yes.
you know, like currently the music is helping me with the working out. But yeah, so
Yes.
you got to find it. I think the path is different for each of us, and you got to definitely find what works for you. But it's there.
Yeah, that's so good. I also know that like in my heart, I know that I'll be okay, but I know that a lot of the times externally things happen to all of us that really shake us, the storm, right? So for some people I've been talking to recently, it's a breakup, right? Or about to break up or get a divorce or whatever. Or I know somebody else who recently I was speaking with at the gym I go to, and she was like, you know, I am a stay-at-home mom and I'm ready to get back into the workforce. I applied for this job, got really far, and then they said no. And she was like, I'm so bummed and I can't pull myself out of that dark space. And then another person, his mom died of cancer, a really bad death, and she's in her 60s. And he was just like, it's so dark right now. I don't know if I can get out of it. And I think that the key to a whole, we talk about spirituality, goes back to this kind of thought that Eckhart Tolle, one of my favorite authors, who authored A New Earth and The Power of Now, has said. He said, literally, like your grounding and your true self and that calmness is like at the bottom of a lake. And I've talked about this all the time, and I love this story because it's like, or this analogy, it's like the bottom of a lake. And whether the lake freezes over at the top, the winds whip at the storms or whatnot, right? Whatever happens, you go back to that stillness.
Right.
And that could be meditation. That stillness could be whatever it is that brings you joy, a moment of silence, friends, whatever. And I know that is super helpful in getting out of your own way. So the question too that here from Victoria from Los Angeles says, how do we get out of our own way? Speaking of getting out of our own way, how can you give yourself some perspective and context so you're not dragging yourself down? So how do you
Well, the first step is admitting that you're in your way. If you can actually recognize that, then you can begin to see, well, how am I contributing to this? Because we are always so busy pointing fingers and blaming others. It's very hard for us to look at it. So if you're actually looking in and you can actually see that you are in the way, you've taken the first critical step. And then keep paying attention to that, and you'll find the next right step to the next right step. And eventually you will be led out of that funk.
But like you said earlier too, doesn't your body know? So going back inward, knowing, right, in your heart that, okay, well, these pants don't fit. I've been traveling a lot, eating a lot. Let's admit it, right? Whatever that is, I think the first step, I 1,000% agree with you, is admitting to it and then taking action. And if you can't take action yourself, then just trying to figure out a way to, you know, to have people help mirror what's happening to you, you know, to you, right? Really, I think that's big.
And just take a digital detox.
I know. Digital detox.
Yes, that's how you get rid of it. Yes, yeah.
Okay, so really interesting. Interestingly enough, you and I have been trying to digitally detox. My big question today is, you know, is it even possible to digitally detox and be successful? Because I think of it as a diet. I think diets don't work. So what kind of lifestyle changes can you make, and not necessarily like cut all carbs out? Because I know that I love me some carbs, right? There's an article that's from abc.net in Australia that says that digital detox is on the rise in Australia this year. And I was just kind of Googling some other places just to see in America. There was no like survey or no study that said it, but there's a lot of articles that alluded to the fact that here in America, people, what's happening in Australia is happening here. There's in this article, it says, quote, results to date show that for many people, digital communication is more frequent than natural conversation. And we know that to be true.
Right.
Like, I think that when I drive to Sacramento or LA or whatever, I tend to call people more. Now it's just texting, you know, or hey, let's try to meet up. And sometimes those meetups don't happen, you know, but I think, like, my question is to everybody and to you is like, gosh, like, a detox is, should we be detoxing? Is there a diet?
We absolutely should be detox. Hey, Marcos, we absolutely should be detoxing spiritually from all of your connectivity. I'm really looking forward to the what is this? The show that Lisa Ling does. This is live. Yes, and she's got a whole thing on being addicted to your phones coming up this Sunday.
Yes, on CNN.
Because so many of us
I saw that. Yes.
Definitely, and myself included. It's like, and I give the excuse, you know, I'm doing work on the phone, and yeah, and I am actually doing work on the phone. But it's like, okay, even at work, I need to take a break. So you have to pull back. But I do make myself engage. I make, you know, when someone's speaking to me, if I'm in my phone, you know, it's easy just to be like, but no, I actually try to look up and make eye contact with them and let them know I acknowledge you, I see you, I recognize and appreciate your humanity in this moment, even though I need to finish this text. But, but I'm going to look up for a moment, because I don't ever want to lose those interpersonal skills. And I don't ever want someone to not feel valued. And I just see it all the time, where everybody's just looking in their device. And then when the thing is, you become so dependent on these, now we're so easy to be controlled by them. And even like that whole thing with the what was it, the presidential alert that came out, and like the whole alert that, you know, that type of stuff. You're just, you know, that's a slippery slope. So you can't be, you know, if you're gonna be reliant on these tools, you can also be controlled by them. That's why example. So you got to find the balance and happy medium.
I think going back to how does your body feel? Like when I'm on the phone, sometimes I know it's a bad habit that I'm trying to break, but before bed, I'll just be like trolling the internet, just like playing around, looking for stuff, or, you know, like looking on social media. And then I feel like my body gets all tense, like, you know, because I might see something about the current administration or something other, you know, something happening with the you know, global warming or the environment that really annoys me. And then like I feel my body like really kind of get tensed up, and I'm not relaxed in my bed. And that's when I'm like, oh, you know, and I notice like when I'm on my computer, every so often I have to get up and like move my body, walk around, and, you know, things get stiff, and for a reason, I think, you know, I know. So I think that that's what I am mindful of. And then that's another kind of check that I'm like, okay, check in, where I'm like, okay, I need to put this down.
Cut it down. I like what Kevin was saying about people don't want to pick up the phone. It's true, because if you pick up a phone call, you have to have pretty much my undivided attention. If I'm texting, I can have 10 conversations simultaneously.
Yeah. And he was like, don't text and drive. Right. I know. I know, right? It's just like I see so many people like this while they're driving. It drives me nuts. I mean, like, I admit I'm getting better at it. But like if I'm at a long stoplight, I look, and then I let go of the brake, then I put it down. But it's like a bad addiction, you know.
Very much.
Yeah. So I know, but to me it's like a diet. I don't go on like super stringent diets. I'm trying to find a thing that works for me, and like intermittent fasting, for example. I'm trying that. Talk about that another day, but like little things or hacks that work for me. It's just like once in a while, if I want a soda, I'll drink a soda. No, it's just like a chocolate cake. It's chocolate cake, and soda isn't bad for you if like you're just a treat once in a while, you know, for your birthday, or once, you know, you going out once in a while or whatever, or a special occasion. But like if you're having it every day, then that's a problem. So I think that that's the same with how much time you spend a day on your device. Like if you're really spending half your day on your device, there really is something wrong, you know. And like Kevin says, everything in moderation.
I think that's it for this week. No.
I know, right? All right, see you later. Anyway, that's a great segue to say, see you later, you guys. Let's get off this now.
Yeah, I'm spending too much time on this device.
I know. I could spend forever talking to you though. But anyway, have a good flight. I know the weather's really crazy.
Thank you. I'm gonna be in Chicago for a couple of days, so I've got some really long, busy days here, but I'll be here for a few days.
Okay, cool. Remember to digitally detox, boo, and you guys too at home.
Okay, you too. Take care.
Well, we hope we've helped you get out of your funk somewhat, and you know, call a homie.
Call a homie. Don't
do whatever you
homie,
need to do
right?
to get out of your funk.
Right.
But you really helped me get out of my funk. You really do. So every Wednesday, I look forward to this and look forward to seeing y'all.
Have a good one.
See you later. See you next time. Bye.